action. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for our New Mexico True How-To webinar. Today we're going to be talking about how to leverage New Mexico True and New Mexico Magazine. And we have, for a long time now, been talking to members of our tourism industry in New Mexico about the 20 free ways that New Mexico True can work for you. But as we sat down recently, huddled up, and went through like new programs, new initiatives, new staff, and talked again about what are we doing to help the tourism industry grow travel in New Mexico. We found out that it was more like, I think we're now at 28 or 30, and I thought of 2 more on the drive-in today. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It felt like a good time to be able to put together a webinar and just kind of talk about what's new at the department and you know, what are the things that the tourism industry needs to know about what we do here at the department. So my name is Rebecca Latham. I'm the Cabinet Secretary for the Tourism Department, and my esteemed colleagues here from the Tourism Department will go through and just introduction and who you are and what you do here. Start with you, Andrea.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I am Andrea Lawrence. I am Brand Development and Marketing Specialist. And what I say that means on a day-to-day basis is that I oversee the Cooperative Marketing Grant Program. I evolve the New Mexico True Certified Program, and I build partnerships that harness the power of New Mexico True for greater economic impact.
Okay. Looking for, you know, Andrea's job is to get to find new and exciting ways to use New Mexico True or to bring more benefit to New Mexico through the New Mexico True brand. So that's every day is uncharted territory.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Susie?
I'm Susie. Good to see you all. I do tourism development, everything from creating and administering the Rural Pathway Project to consultations with our communities that are interested in tourism products.
Thank you, ma'am. Also uncharted territory with you. We've learned a lot since Susie has moved into the tourism development program. In fact, we've learned a lot since we created a tourism development program. That was all new. So I think I'm excited to hear more about, you know, like what you're doing and things that people may not know about and how they can work with you. And Carolyn is our newest face.
I am. I'm a month old. My name is Carolyn Graham. I am the new CEO for New Mexico Magazine. I'm very excited. I'm new to the magazine, but I'm not new to the state. I'm originally from Las Cruces. I'm a Bulldog. I'm an Aggie. And I'm really excited to be back leading this team in this fantastic publication.
And we are so happy to have you. Great things ahead for New Mexico Magazine. It's really, I think the next 2 years is just going to be about the cherry on top as you approach your centennial, 100 years of New Mexico Magazine, and, you know, how do you make a great thing greater? So we've got a lot to talk about with you. And then someone that hopefully you all know very, very well, Laura Rasmussen. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hello. I'm the Public and Industry Relations Coordinator. So in addition to working with our communications team on just PR coverage for the department and our initiatives, I also work with you, the industry, on partnership exposure, what our staff is doing, how you can be involved. Really anything you have a question about or how the department can help is funneled through me. So I'm your go-to girl.
I love it. We pride ourselves on being really accessible, you know, that our team will essentially stop what they're doing to help out members of our tourism industry, and you should be able to know everyone here at the department, but really your best bet when you need anything from the tourism department, go through Laura. She's your portal into all things New Mexico True and New Mexico Mag. She can help you get in the right place, and a lot of times it's a lot quicker than trying to Google and figure out, like, who can help me with this. Just send it to Laura, and she can take it from there. So we're going to get going now with some questions about what you do, and really, again, the focus being on how members of the tourism industry can leverage everything that we've done. A 94, 95-year-old magazine approaching 100 years, and of course the New Mexico True brand, which is something that the state of New Mexico has invested more than $30 million in. So really, it's, you know, we're just scratching the surface on what New Mexico True can do, both for tourism and for non-tourism partners. But really, let's get started with Susie. What is the most valuable thing that you bring to the tourism industry to bring in more tourists, to increase business? What's the most valuable thing that you do?
I think that one of the strongest pros of the new tourism development team is the ability to get out into our communities and meet with our stakeholders on a one-to-one basis, sitting down, seeing exactly what it is these communities are trying to do, and having that very personalized relationship that then allows me the ability to become invested in that project. And then from there, working along with these communities from step A to step Z, and conceptualizing these ideas and building them out, and then eventually marketing those products.
You mentioned ideas, and I think there's still kind of a great unknown around tourism development. We talk a lot about tourism product development, tangible tourism experiences. Can you just to clarify, what is tourism development? What is it that you're bringing to this agency?
What we're looking to do is develop profitable tourism products. And a tourism product is a bundle of amenities aimed at satisfying the traveler's needs. So it's not just a trail, it's not just a tour. It is every single step along that way that gets the traveler from their seat on the plane or their seat in the vehicle, and then having this amazing, soulful experience that would then be something they would relay back to their friends and family and have that repeat visit. So tourism development is really a sector in the department that is solely focused on getting these project concepts from just concept to a tangible product with the ability to prove returns for that community, again, all for the purpose of increasing the quality of life for our fellow New Mexicans.
Very well said. You take an idea and you make it profitable.
This ain't my first rodeo.
Wonderful. Now, Andrea, you run really two of our most popular and sought-after programs, True Certified and Co-op. So what do you feel is the most valuable thing that you bring to our industry partners?
Well, a couple things. So first of all, you mentioned more than $30 million investment, and I mean, that's a huge number, and it's important for people to realize that money is funneling through media partners and media vendors, and they're thrilled to work with us. And so one of the things that's new, I guess, just this past year, and that we're really expanding on, is leveraging the department's media buying power and negotiating preferred rates and passing those on to partner communities, attractions, events, destinations, whoever's out there, that they can get greater economic impact in their communities and have their voice be heard by taking advantage of our muscle, essentially.
I think we have the pleasure of working with so many rural communities whose marketing budgets are limited. And, you know, we all know buying media is tough, especially if you have a limited media budget. If you're only able to buy media at, you know, the bulk rate associated with $20,000 or $50,000, compared to what we've invested and what we've been spending, you're going to get a much better rate if you're working with the department. So essentially, you're bringing like a big old, like, valuable discount on great media products to the industry, which is fantastic.
Definitely. And then the other thing I think that I want to share with our partners and is about New Mexico True Certified, and this is a more organic way of getting the word out, and it's using known travel motivators like cuisine, and also we know that visitors in the market spend more money, $185 more on average, once they're on vacation, on products that are 100% that are authentic. So 100% in our case, made, grown, or born and raised in New Mexico. And so we think there's great opportunity then for these businesses from small to large and communities to tell, hey, this is what's going on here. This is the place you come to Hatch to buy chili. You know, yes, you come to New Mexico, but we want you to funnel down even further and come to our community.
That's a great point. Being able to leverage New Mexico True in your community, New Mexico True certified in your community by saying, we serve New Mexico True certified beef, or we sell New Mexico True certified salsa. You know, how can you sell more of that product if you're in retail? How can you sell more product simply by putting New Mexico True certified on it? And we have research that shows that it's a thing.
It is, and even something I just learned more than a thing, it's an ongoing thing. And so when people go home, and it shouldn't surprise me, I've done it myself. I'm like, oh, I love that tea that I bought somewhere. How do I get more of it? And I go online, and people, even once they're back at home, create or have an ongoing relationship with your destination through those products.
But they've got to be able to find New Mexico True certified on that product, right? It doesn't work if it doesn't say New Mexico True certified on the product. Great. Well, how about you, Carolyn? What do you think is the most valuable thing that you're bringing to the tourism industry to grow travel?
Our role is to get the word out, and we try to do that in a very curated way. So we take the information that comes to us, and we find cool, fun, colorful, sexy ways to get that information out. So we do rely on various sources for that. Partners, obviously, who get in touch with us, let us know what's going on. And we also have a variety of ways that we do that. We do that through big features in the magazine, big, colorful, long features that really deeply explore a topic. And we also do that through kind of our little bites, through our Go See Do section, which sort of explores calendars. And again, it's a very curated sort of approach. We do use the newmexico.org calendar to pull from. So I would encourage people to definitely upload events that they know about. And we can also use those in print as well as through our social media channels. So we are not just a print publication. We're a digital publication as well.
Great. Wonderful. And Laura, I imagine that for this particular topic, you're kind of our MVP about what you do that's valuable to the tourism industry. But if you had to narrow it down, what would you think is the most valuable part of your job to help our tourism industry partners?
Sure. So I kind of consider myself your customer service rep. When something's broken, or you know how to use something, or you have a question, you can come to me for that Q&A. Another good place is, as I get information from you or think of ways we can help you, is I constantly am updating our tourism industry website, which is nmtourism.org. So if you have a question, that's the best place to answer it. It's the online version of me. Just look there, and you can get some questions answered. But if not, I'm that go-to customer service person. So I'm here to answer questions or help you, whether you have something and you need to look how to exploit it through the department, or you think we don't have something that you need, come to me.
That's a great point. If there's something that you need or something that you want to do and it's not something that we currently offer, we'd love to hear about it, because that's, I mean, if it's valuable to you, it's going to be valuable to us, and we'd love to be able to help provide that. So Laura, let's take it from there as far as, like, what would you say is a little known fact about our industry relations program?
That I exist. I'm here to help you all. It's important that you tap into us. We have something for everything. So regardless of what you're doing, one step of your process should be tie in the tourism department to this. And I feel like that is sometimes unknown or thought of after the fact. When I have a lot of discussions with people or follow up with them on things, is, oh, I totally could have tied in this to that. So knowing that regardless of what you have, there is something that we offer you or can offer you. Which that's a big little known fact, but I think it's important to just know, as you're working on a marketing campaign, as you're developing tourism products, the department is here. We exist to help you with that. So that's the main thing.
I hope this isn't embarrassing or awkward to you. I do feel it's interesting to share, though, that prior to coming to the tourism department, Laura worked in social media for the Big 12 conference, and had incredible relationships with universities and their sports programs, and helping to bring more attention to the conference and their events, and had great success in doing that. And she knows things that we don't know. I've learned so much from Laura already just in her experience outside of tourism. So I feel like it's very important to emphasize that her background, her wheelhouse is very broad, and she is absolutely an underutilized resource. And I know that because she's so responsive to emails. And if she was really being utilized, then there'd be a little bit of a lag time. She's like on it. So please, yeah.
That's
please.
one of my top qualities. Response time. Again, customer service rep.
Little known fact, I'm like the most responsive person. Have we talked little known facts with you yet? Or
No.
We're like going back down the line. I got swept up in the moment.
Well, I think one of our little knownest facts, I'm an editor, is that we are the oldest state-run tourism publication in the U.S. And I think that part of that is we are such an incredible resource. And also because of that, our editors are also a resource. And they're very approachable. And I think people don't always realize that they can just pick up the phone, they can call, and our editor, who she has a very keen understanding of the media landscape in our state. If we can't use the story, then she can help you find a way to get an outlet for it. So
that's speaking about that accessibility, and Kate Nelson, who is our managing editor, but currently our interim editor-in-chief, she judged our Travel Tank event, and she's my go-to when I have a question about New Mexico. She's like the Siri of New Mexico history and culture. It's like, Kate, where is the entrance to Tent Rocks? She's just, she knows everything, and she's so willing to help not only share information, but tell you this is something that the magazine can use. It's not, and I'm going to refer you to someone else. She came to New Mexico Magazine from the Department of Cultural Affairs. So as we prepare for our next webinar a month from now to talk about cultural assets and how the industry partners can build off of their cultural assets, Kate's definitely a person that we're going to want to have in that conversation.
Absolutely.
She's great about, she knows it all.
she does.
But not in a bad way. Knows it all in a good way. So Susie, what's a little known fact about what you do with tourism development?
So I'm going to kind of piggyback on Laura, and the fact that this division exists, I feel, is little known. David and I, that's what we do, my director and I, is going out into the communities and working with not just industry stakeholders, but really anyone who has a heart for increasing profits and believes in tourism as an economic driver. A great example is just yesterday, I had someone in Deming who wanted to meet, and she was shocked that I not only would meet with her, but that I would go to her in her area, and not only that I would go to her, but let's not just meet, let's make it a 4-hour, half-day RPP intensive workshop, you know, and so just having those resources available, not just tangible sources, but also that human connection as well.
That's great. You just mentioned the RPP.
Mm-hmm.
What is the RPP?
Rural Pathway Project.
And we, I will probably get into that a little later in the webinar, but yeah, that is the new iteration of our tourism development grant program, and something that I'm really excited about. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Andrea, what do you think? What's the little known fact about the programs that you oversee?
So I'm going to start with True Certified, because I think, like Carolyn said, just the fact that True Certified, New Mexico True Certified exists is a little known fact right now. And it has so much room to grow. Like, every time I go anywhere, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's made in New Mexico. Why isn't that True Certified yet? And I have these people to call it. So yeah, New Mexico True Certified exists, little known fact. And every day I am astounded to learn about all the things that are made, grown, and born and raised in New Mexico. I had no idea. And Susie, I think earlier mentioned A to Z, and I'm thinking like artwork and ale to Zinfandel and Zia. Like, it is all out there. And I say that first because I didn't want to upstage New Mexico True Certified with the announcement of a little known fact about cooperative marketing, is that we're announcing the rollout of Phase 2, which is the flexible funding part that people have been waiting for, and that applications for that will open August 1st, and we have more information on that on our industry partners website at nmtourism.org.
Can you kind of break that down a little bit? You said phase 2 is Flex. What is the difference? What is phase 1, and how, just kind of go over co-op for us.
Sure. We started with the media menu plan, which we talked about quite a bit, I think, at Governor's Conference for anybody who was there, and goes back to my earlier comments about leveraging the muscle behind New Mexico True and the brand media buys and working with relationships with our vendors that we have. So we offered just that, a media menu plan. People, I'll talk about it a little more, but our partners could buy into digital or print, digital, and out-of-home advertising in key publications like New Mexico Magazine or Southwest Insight Magazine, digital options like Pandora, TripAdvisor, and out-of-home in airports like Houston, Dallas, Phoenix. And so phase 1 is a lot of our awardees received next steps, just hot off the presses, about how to move their concepts into tangible advertising and great creative. And now moving into this flexible option, which is more of the traditional, as co-op was known, which is, okay, so these media menu plan options didn't work for you, though we don't know why. We had consultations to tell you how they could work for you, but if you were still saying that doesn't work for me, I want to do X instead, this is your chance to do that.
Great. I think of Flex as kind of choose your own adventure. You know, the MMP, the Media Menu Program, really is a menu of options, and just depending on how much an industry partner has that they want to match, then there's all kinds of options, and it's fairly simple, right? Like you go in and you check what you want, and then we talk it through. Does it make sense for you? And then bada bing, bada boom, we're able to double your money. And what's new about the MMP program was that this year partners weren't having to front 100% of the cost. So that's, I think that's big. Flex being, yeah, as you said, kind of like, things that didn't fall into MMP. And I'm really proud of the work that you all have put into it and building it and getting the emails back from industry partners like Taos Valley and Los Alamos who say, we love this, thank you, we couldn't have done this without you. That means a lot, I know, to you. And before we move on to our question about underutilized, because I think that we talked about underutilized, but I do want to also, I have my own little known fact. Andrea, you mentioned leveraging the brand, and I think that is something that we can't stress enough about New Mexico True, that it is a brand, it's not a campaign. And people ask, well, what's next after New Mexico True? But there's nothing, because New Mexico True is like Coca-Cola. It's like Target, NASCAR. It is a brand, and we have brand advertising. We have a brand advertising campaign, but it's really important for our partners to know that the investment behind this is not the investment behind a campaign, but rather something that is long-standing and has some permanence here in New Mexico. But instead of going one at a time with the underutilized question, what do you feel is underutilized about what you offer? Do any of you, what's the first thing that pops out for any of you? Susan, go ahead.
Our research director behind the scenes, the research that we have published on our industry site, I feel is hugely underutilized. We have travel research and tourism research for the entire state, and so many questions could be answered through just delving into that content, ensuring that you're leveraging the brand, you're leveraging your opportunities, and you're making smart and wise investments that have the ability to prove profitable return. And I will say that over and over and over. So it's something that I pulled from when creating the programming that I do, and it's something that it's almost like an automatic reply to so many of the questions that I get. So I encourage everyone to just take, a couple hours one day in your pajamas with your coffee and just sit down and just leaf through all of the research we have, because it's there, and it will ensure that you are putting your dollars where your dollars should go in whatever context that may be for you.
That's a really great point. We make a lot of data-based decisions that we couldn't make without that research, and that's where we find things like
Family travel.
How important family travel is, and that venturesome families are a subset of venturesome travelers, and that's helping guide our decisions moving forward. A more deliberate attempt to promote family travel. I think our cultural assets and how many more visitors to New Mexico are deliberately seeking out cultural experiences, national parks experiences as part of their trip here. So great point.
And speaking of research, we do have a webinar. I'm going to plug it for the Longwood research on July 25th. Mark your calendar. The registration link's already up, where we'll talk about how to use that research, what it means. You know, yes, you can look through it, but if you don't know how to apply it, what good is it? So just a little plug for the research webinar coming up. So July 25th.
That's Tuesday?
Next Thursday.
Thursday.
27th, I'm sorry. 27th, which if you get Tourism Talk, which I feel is underutilized, that will have accurate information on stuff like this. And I think for staying on the topic of underutilized, Tourism Talk is really a collective space to find everything we're doing to support and help you. So I think that's something that's underutilized. It's bi-weekly, but it's something you should definitely open up for your need to know, redirects, everything that's new, or ways we can help you.
So you can go to, if you're seeking something, go to nmtourism.org. But if you're not seeking something, but you're open to seeing what's out there, then just open Tourism Talk, that bi-weekly newsletter. And if you're not currently getting Tourism Talk, you can sign up for it at nmtourism.org.
And can I tag on to
Absolutely.
that? So, and Carolyn touched on this earlier. One of the things I think we believe is underutilized are the free business listings. And so with Tourism Talk, I think oftentimes you're going to newmexico.org, to the master events calendar, or, you know, maybe not just Tourism Talk, but in the work that you do. And you get that information from the community, from our partners. It's user-generated content that people put on our site, again, free, managed by everybody out there, with special offers, with events, to broadcast events, and then we as a department pull from those for magazine spreads, for communications, for social posts and all that. So I think that there are a good number of people definitely out there using it. There can always be more.
That's great. Almost everything that we're doing, that we're sending out there is going to include something that can save you money, or something that can make your money go farther, because it's piggybacking with our money. So what about underutilized magazine resources?
Well, I think I want to jump on what Andrea was saying about the co-ops and the new choose your own adventure types of advertising. We're starting to dip our toe a little bit into the advertorial scene. And I think that is underutilized, mainly because we have kind of just started it. So you haven't had a chance to overutilize it yet. But it's an interesting prospect. So far, we're getting some good response, and it's interesting for us as editors and business people too to kind of see how that works. But we are working closely with the advertiser to get a message out. So I would encourage you to, when you're thinking about what you want to do as an advertorial, to really hone your message and come up with something really special you want to share about your community. We want these advertorials to be useful and very readable. The good news is that we're producing them, so it will be in the magazine's tone, and it will be our design. So it will feel like a natural part of the magazine. They will know that it's sponsored content, but again, we'll be working closely with the advertiser to really structure that message so that it's fun and exciting and interesting.
Wonderful. So if you joined us a little late today, this is our New Mexico True How-To webinar on leveraging New Mexico True and the New Mexico Magazine. We have Andrea Lawrence, our brand development and marketing specialist, Susie Lawrence, no relation, our Tourism Development Coordinator. Carolyn Graham is our new CEO of New Mexico Magazine, and Laura Rasmussen is our Public and Industry Relations Coordinator. If you have questions throughout the webinar, there are 2 ways that you can get them to us. Well, 3 actually. Number 1, you can tweet us at @NMTourism. You can text your questions to area code 505.
469-2739.
I should write that down. 469-2739. And of course, if you have questions that come up later, you can always email Laura, and her email address is industry.relations@state.nm.us. It's plastered over everything because, again, she's the person that you should be working with the most. So a lot of the interest in working with the tourism department, no surprise, revolves around funding. We have some really great grant programs. We've done a lot to grow those grant programs and evolve those grant programs, but they're pretty timely. And we've had a few, always, there's someone that says like, oh, I missed the webinar or I missed the deadline. So let's talk a little bit about what happens if someone misses a deadline or didn't do a webinar. Let's start with co-op.
It happens all the time, and I hate taking those calls. Don't miss things. I don't, excluding. So right away, and a few of these things have come up already, so I'm not going to dwell on them too long, but somebody calls, they missed a grant deadline. The first thing I'm going to say is don't wait until next year. Immediately start using department tools and resources now, and whether that's research, getting onto Tourism Talk so you're aware. The 3 things I say to people is get to know the industry website, sign up for Tourism Talk, start employing the 23 ways New Mexico True can work for you, maybe soon to be 28 or 30.
It grows. As we
Unlimited ways.
Yeah. We're just going to call it the 20+ free ways.
So do that right away. And then also our Ad Builder Toolkit is an incredible, probably underutilized resource at nmtourism.org on the industry site under industry resources, NM True brand. And then the next thing I will say as far as right now, because as we do move into this Flex application, I know I will get more of these. And so the answer to the question, how do I participate if I miss the deadlines for Co-op Marketing Flex grant cycle FY18 is collaborate with somebody. So I'm going to say, oh, look, I see someone in your area who is eligible. Talk to them. How do you talk to them? And the next thing I want to let people know is that we have, again, something new and exciting this year, which is sort of part 3 of the co-op program. And it's not matching, so it's not a grant. It is, however, our partners' ability to again, get with our media vendors and really get behind the relationship. It's greater voice. It's furthering your dollars, so you can take it. What people can do is take advantage of the rates that we offered through the MMP, the Media Menu Plan program, and get that advertising or the advertorial at a discounted rate.
So it's really a co-op in the true sense of the word. We're all pooling our resources, which is buying down the price for everybody. Buys down the price for you, buys down the price for me, and just because I didn't get a grant to pay for 50% of that buy down price, I can still get it at the deep discount.
Exactly. Thank you.
You don't have to.
So much more. Clearly, it's a big place.
But I think that's great. I know, my days of being in Red River, I applied for 8 different co-op grants, and luckily didn't miss a deadline. But I did see a lot of changes. There were changes in the co-op program then, where over the course of time, the award that my community was receiving was dramatically different, just based on more applicants and different shifts of the program, different direction shifts. And I can only imagine not being, like if something had happened and I wasn't able to get that funding, to still know, though, that I could purchase that my community could purchase advertising. I could get into a big national publication for a fraction of what it would cost on my own is huge. So if you're in that situation and you missed a deadline, or, I mean, Andrea just said the Flex program is opening up August the 1st, but if you ever miss a deadline, there's still hope. And so thank you for sharing that. And what about with Rural Pathway Project? Let's talk a little bit about your program and your deadline.
Sure. So the Rural Pathway Project is a new initiative within the Tourism Development Division that focuses more on capacity building for product concepts to then take that concept and turn it into a tangible, profitable product, as opposed to just submitting for something that we think could maybe bring in some revenues, but we're not too sure. That was really the aha moment that we had in the last cycle. So this program is all about opening up the opportunity to different stakeholders throughout the state that want to sit down with us and go through all of our materials, 20 hours of capacity building, to then create a long-term sustainable development plan, which then you can give to us for potential implementation funding. If you miss the deadline for the current cycle, the first thing I'm going to want to do is get your name, your entity, your number, your sign, everything that I can get. Whatever, name, number, sign, your zodiac, because I still want to meet with you. I still want to talk with you. That's what we're here for. RPP is a comprehensive program. All of the resources that will be presented in the 20 hours of capacity building will be on the website. So we can still do a comprehensive, quick, 4-hour, half-day workshop with your steering committee to get that project concept rolling. And I think it's important to remember that one of the sessions that we do is all about how to leverage your dollar and identifying those funding opportunities. So even though it's not a direct link to our department for funding, we're going to find so many other ways that you can diversify your funding opportunities. So it's definitely not a waste of anybody's time whatsoever. And then the last thing I'll say is that we do this by cycle. So we're kind of looking at it quarterly from now on. And so if you do miss a deadline, just wait a month or two and another cycle will come up.
There will be another one.
There will be another one, yes.
Right. So if you apply to be in the Rural Pathway Project and you're chosen, then Susie will spend 20 hours in your community with you and your stakeholders and really walk you through idea to something feasible that you can pitch and get multiple funding sources. You can also then apply for funding from us. But if you don't get accepted into the RPP, if you're not the one, I mean, it's a highly competitive program, but if you're not the one project that's accepted, you still have opportunity. Yeah. Susie will still come out. I mean, she's always looking for reasons to be out of the office and travel the state.
The resources are always available, and the one thing I will say is if you have a concept and you're not really sure, just by applying for that cycle, that guarantees you a meeting with myself, my director. I know Rebecca's interested in meeting with a few entities as well. So just applying automatically gets you face time with the division to offer, that face-to-face interaction. So.
As a side note, as we were reviewing the applications that came in for the first RPP, Rural Pathway Project cycle, Susie and our Tourism Development Director, David, had gone through and, really applied some science and some economics and, a real format to how we were going to evaluate. And they brought them to me, and mine was like, this is cool. Oh, no, this is cooler. Oh, no, this could be the coolest. And that's really like as an entity that is providing resources and potentially funding for applicants, the best possible scenario is that you'd be thrilled with any one of these projects, any one of these applications, and you're only choosing one would be absolutely amazing and is certain to move the needle in tourism in New Mexico. And now we get to do it all over again, and you still have an opportunity. And if you're not ready to apply by the second cycle, good news, there's a third cycle. So I just really am, I get giddy every time we talk about tourism development and the Rural Pathway Project. Yeah. And I want that to be really like, I want to be able to share that as like one of our big success stories, you know, that we as an industry, we're not currently eligible, our tourism projects, or I wouldn't say our tourism projects, but the industry's tourism projects are not eligible for funding through the Local Economic Development Act or through JTIP for job training. And, you know, I think it speaks such volumes about our industry that we've grown so much over the past 5 years, and we've done it without incentives, and we've done it without, really without help. And I like to say it's because our commodity is our people, and it doesn't lose, you know, our people are solid. We don't lose value because that's what hospitality is all about, it's our people. And because of our people, we're continuing to grow and create more jobs and bring in more money and provide a greater offset of the household tax burden every year. I'm on a soapbox, sorry, I don't know how that happened. But I mean, there's so many success stories that, you know, that we can tout, and I really look forward to being able to share with the governor and the legislature that our tourism development grant, now the Rural Pathway Project, has been a tremendous success. So to that point, success stories. Everybody's got to have a favorite. Well, I mean, Carolyn, you've been here a short amount of time. You're a month old, you said at the beginning.
That's right.
But do you have a success story that you can share?
Sure. I think actually every time we get a magazine out, we can call that a success. So that's easy in the short term. I think also just the fact that we are approaching our 100th birthday, I think that's a testament to our success. Specifically though, I know of one story with Carrizozo. It started with a press release, and the editor started a conversation. That conversation led to a story. We sent a writer out. The story was amazing. The response was great. The community Carrizozo ended up using that story. They ordered reprints. They ordered extra copies of the magazine. They posted it on social media. They got the word out. And so it grew beyond just the magazine. And to this day, people still come in, you know, holding that particular issue of the magazine. And even beyond that, because their advertising dollars were limited, they decided to kind of put a creative spin on what they could do as a partner with the magazine. And they decided to hold a sit-down dinner for our photo contest winners. And it was a fantastic event. It's still going on. It's a great partnership. Our winners of our contest also appear at the gallery, the Tula Rosa Basin Gallery, and they're beautifully framed. They become a good linchpin for the contest. It's a good incentive for people to enter. And it basically just grew from a good press release and a nice little contact and just spread from there. And now we have this great relationship with the community. We know what's happening there. They communicate with us. They understand what we do. So it's a success.
Wonderful. And that's always so nice too. Every time we cruise through Carrizozo to know about the relationship that we've formed with that community and how it is symbiotic, very symbiotic.
And it makes us put a special eye on what's happening there too, because we do have that relationship.
Wonderful. Andrea, how about you?
Well, I love Carolyn's story about Carrizozo because it's such a small community, and I think no story is too small. I get communications from our New Mexico True Certified partners all the time, and really touching, like, you know, a small entity, a gal who weaves guitar straps says to me, I got into the gallery of my dreams because I'm New Mexico True Certified. Or somebody calls and says, what did you all do today? And I'm like, I don't know, what did I do today? I got over 100 hits on my website on a product I have advertised in the Spring Gift Guide or the Enchanted 8 road trip store. So I think, you know, those small stories are touching, And then we have huge success stories like 505 Southwestern saying, we're selling more product in Colorado due to our New Mexico True certified outdoor billboards on I-25 in Denver.
Because even Colorado knows who has the better chili.
And with co-op, we see success stories all the time. Lately, we're wrapping up the end of FY17, so we're bringing in tracking and impact reports, and I'm blown away. And I'm so impressed when somebody says, look, year over year, my event attendance increased X%, or visitation exceeded our expectations. And I see that success rolling into the coming fiscal year when you get somebody like City of Las Vegas and Las Vegas Main Street and this whole collaborative effort, or Spanish Colonial Arts, folks who say, we're all in, we get it. And we're going big. There's so much opportunity. When we're matching dollar for dollar, take a risk. You can do something. There's new and exciting things to do this year.
I love the fact that you have such a heart for helping the little guys. You know, you put so much pride into helping our smaller rural communities achieve big advertising goals and helping our smaller mom and pop businesses achieve big increases in sales and big exposure, because I think the easy thing would be to just say, like, I'm just going to coast on the larger partners or coast on the larger communities, but you don't. You really put that personal energy into helping the little guy achieve bigger things. So that's why you're the perfect person for that.
Thank you. Well, I think we all do that, and we do that as a team, and that's, you know, leadership that says small and big, it doesn't matter. Like, we're all New Mexicans, we're all working together, we're all here for greater
economics. Sounds like the start of an ad.
Coming soon.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the work you're doing. Susie, how about you? Success story.
Our grant recipients for FY17, all three of those entities were great successes. I think those projects surpassed any of our expectations. So those are very tangible successes for our division. But kind of a larger success would be the ability for us as a department to remain extremely dynamic and ever-changing and very open-minded, in the sense that we worked with these communities, we experienced firsthand what our smaller, more rural communities are experiencing, and then we were able to backtrack and restructure a program that would be more applicable to their needs. And so I see that as a really strong success and a real note to the commitment that we have here at the department.
I had the opportunity to experience one of Susie's success stories in Ruidoso, where through FY17, the Tourism Development Grant, we funded river restoration and fish habitat actually in the village so that they can increase their outdoor recreation opportunity, outdoor recreation experience. You can actually fish from town. You can walk down to the stream, and there's big boulders now placed in the river for trout to hang out. And the greatest, I think, fun for us was to be able to see how many tourists, it didn't help the fishing, but how many tourists were there actually walking through. You know, it's easy and safe for them to get down into the river, and then just putting your feet in the river. It was so appealing, we had to do it ourselves and go test out the product, and the product was good. Just, you know, think about like people who don't live in New Mexico and getting to come here and have that experience of putting your feet into a river and absorbing the beautiful mountains around you. So great work on that project and all the projects that you've done. And what about you, Laura? Biggest success story or favorite success story?
I always go back to Travel Tank, which was an event we did in May around the governor's conference. Not only was it successful to engage with our regional boards, but we presented them with a great opportunity to interact with media and develop pitching skills and think of story ideas. We learned a lot from them. They learned a lot from us in the process, and we saw results from that. We had huge media hits for the Indian Public Cultural Center on their artist mugs. We had KOAB go up to the Northeast region on several stories that they pitched, and all that's still ongoing. So that was a huge success just because of the magnitude of it, but through all steps of it, there was just success in working together, actually developing skills, and then you saw results for your work.
And I think, too, that will continue to grow because as we're preparing to go to Travel Media Showcase and have a huge PR opportunity to meet with travel journalists, taking some of the pitches that were crafted there, like The New Native and the experience in Gallup, those we will be pitching those, and so we're looking forward to I don't know if Laura's ready for it, but we're looking forward to doing another travel thing. So I'm getting a signal as we're wrapping up that we do have some questions. Let's just quickly kind of run through what would you like the biggest takeaway today to be for our industry partners of how to leverage New Mexico True and the New Mexico Magazine. Andrea?
Can I share a quote?
As long as it's a good one.
It seems a little off, but I'm going to bring it back. I think especially when we're talking about destination marketing and advertising, the world is now big, the world is noisy, and competition is fierce. And I found this, and I love it, Steven Spielberg talks about when I was a kid, there wasn't collaboration, there was just me with a camera bossing my friends and family around. And then as he became an adult and more successful, he says filmmaking is all about appreciating the talents of the people you surround yourself with and knowing you never could have made all of these films by yourself. And so I would love for us to take away today to continue to appreciate the talents of those around us. Thank you all very much. Be creative, be innovative, and embrace that we are stronger and more successful when we work together.
Ooh, wow, that was good. Nicely done. Susie, top that.
So I would say the biggest takeaway, lots of small tidbits that you got throughout the webinar, but the biggest takeaway is that I feel from the outside looking in at the department, it's a government agency, right? So the wins are small. They're small wins that get you, from 1 to 2 to 3. And the takeaway that I want you guys to have after this is that our wins are no longer small wins. Don't look at us to get you from, step 1, 2, 3. These are large, sustainable wins that have the ability to change lives. And the program that I do, it's in a certain fiscal year, there are deadlines, but they're crafted, as Co-op is, as the magazine is, they're crafted in ways that prove returns for a long period of time. And so taking the time to reach out to the department, allow us to work with you, allow us to figure out, these larger scale problems for the purpose of creating a better state for the long run.
Wow.
Give me true. Bless America. Very well said. That's a heavy takeaway. Chew on that a little while. Carolyn, how about you?
Well, I have 2 quotes from our very smart magazine staff. The first one is Kate Nelson's quote, and she says, "Be a squeaky wheel. Let us know what's going on. Send us press releases, pick up the phone, go on social media, use every tool that you can. And through that process, invite us out." And the second quote is Edie Dillman, our director, and she says, every time our magazine gets better every time someone leaves the office. And it does, because we get to experience what you want us to experience. We get to experience the greatness of New Mexico, all the small communities, big communities, artists, food, all that kind of stuff. And it's critical to our mission at the magazine.
Very, very well said. I had to think about it for a second. Wait. Everybody,
Yeah,
what?
no,
when we're traveling. Gotcha, yes. And as the tourism department, I can assure you that we love to travel the state of New Mexico. So Laura, biggest takeaway. What do you want everybody to take away from your program?
Again, just that there's something for everyone. I think that what has been said through the variety of people we have here can attest that regardless of your product, your destination, your campaign, whatever you're doing, there is something for everyone, but probably more than one thing for everyone. So really tap into those things because they're here for you.
Very true. I have a takeaway that doesn't really fall into a program. It's more like a general agency takeaway. One being how proud I am of the amount of time that this agency spends trying to move forward and constantly gut checking and countless hours just figuring out what's next, how can we keep growing. We never want to be stagnant, and that is a real point of gratitude that I have for the people that work in this agency, that they're not paper pushers. We're, constantly looking for how we can benefit tourism for you all. The other thing that is a takeaway I think is cool is that our door is always open. If you're going to be in Santa Fe, we love nothing more than to have you stop by the office and say hello. You can visit our visitor center here in Santa Fe. We're directly across the street from the Roundhouse. And if you need a space to work, if you need an office space, if you need to take a meeting, if you need Wi-Fi or you need to print something, please come join us. We've got some great co-working space that you're invited to chill in, and it is my absolute favorite thing when we get to see folks from around the state. I love it when we're in your neck of the woods, but when you're in ours, please stop by and say hello. So Victoria, who has been waiting patiently with some questions, I think we've got probably time for 2 or 3.
Sounds good. All right, so the first question is for Andrea. And I know you touched on this earlier, so you may just be setting in concrete something that's already out there. But so if somebody missed the first phase of co-op funding, are they then eligible for the August 1st Flex program?
There is more information about that just at our website, so nmtourism.org. It's Industry Partners under the Work Together tab, Grants, Cooperative Marketing. So that's where you'll see it in black and white. So there are eligible entities, and then there were 2 eligibility requirements, and those included attending live a webinar on May 18th and submitting an intent to apply on May 23rd. So that's the criteria to be able to submit an application for the Flex funding portion. And again, if somebody is ineligible because of one of those reasons, call me or email me, and we will talk about potential for collaboration. So thank you for that.
Right, now I have one for Susie, and this is along the same lines, but how can someone find out more about the Rural Pathways Project and whether or not they're eligible?
You can call me. My phone number is 505-795-0343. You can also visit the industry website under Work Together, Grants, Tourism Development, and the informational webinar. It's about a 45-minute webinar that goes through the whole process. That is also available there as well. I would encourage entities or stakeholders or individuals who are interested to take a minute and view the webinar first. It'll answer a lot of the more technical questions, but my door is always open and my phone's always on. So if you just need a little bit more dialogue to get a better grasp, please give me a call.
I was over here like pointing at Laura too, as far as like if you can't remember where on the website to find it, or you can't remember Susie's name, or that she spells it with a Z and a Y, just go through Laura, and Laura will get you to Susie, get you in the right place. Great. Is there maybe one more?
One more question. Last but not least, where can I get a New Mexico True bumper sticker?
I will also defer to Laura. If you so desire a New Mexico True sticker or something New Mexico True to show how proud you are of our state, then far be it from us to stand in your way. So if you'll email Laura your request, we'll make sure you get some goodies from us.
And if you take the pledge, you get a sticker.
Oh, that's right. Take the pledge to keep New Mexico True. I feel like we could keep going. There's so many great things. That's right. We do have coming up, we mentioned next Thursday is going to be our webinar on the deep dive into the Longwoods data, the 2016 Longwoods report. So you can register for that webinar as well at nmtourism.org. It's under upcoming events, which is where you'll also find information about Keep New Mexico True Night next Friday the 28th at the Isotopes game. So if you're going to be in Albuquerque, or if you live in Albuquerque and you want to go to the game, we'd love to have you attend. Just let Laura know and we'll get you some tickets. The only thing that you're required to do is wear a Keep New Mexico True t-shirt, but it's going to be a good opportunity for us to to make sure that the greater Albuquerque area and Isotopes fans are aware of their opportunity to commit to taking the pledge to keep New Mexico true, commit to a cleaner and more beautiful New Mexico. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for your participation and for your great feedback. I've learned, again, more. I didn't think I could learn anything from our own department, but I've learned a lot today. So next month, the third Thursday of the month, we'll be doing how to build off of your cultural assets. I used to have the misconception that cultural assets were very limited, not recognizing that the culture of the community I represented was Western, cowboy, and I think people sometimes get confused about what culture is, but whether it's the alien culture in Roswell or the science and labs culture, the mystery culture in Los Alamos, everybody in New Mexico has a distinct culture. So we're going to do a webinar to talk about how to build off of the culture that you possess and build something that you really own. And I feel there's one more thing I was going to say. Oh, this webinar. If you liked the information that you learned today, you want to share it with your stakeholders or with your coworkers or your community. You can find all of the webinars, the how-to webinars, on our website, nmtourism.org, and we'd love for you to be able to share it. We've had some really great ones there with regards to food and experiences and other...
Working with the media.
Thank you. And an upcoming webinar, too, we're going to cover how to create content because we've just launched a new blog that we're really proud of at newmexico.org. So anyway, I'm taking up more time. Soapbox again. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for the work that you're doing to build tourism in New Mexico, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday for our webinar on Longwoods research. Have a great week.